In this video, we're going to learn about layer groups. This is just another way of organizing your layers on your list in your layers panel. Now to demonstrate this, we're going to bring in all of these little dots onto our small tree. So first I'll add them on here on my construction paper. Remember that each of these little dots represents a separate layer and can be adjusted independently. Now in Photoshop, let's bring these all into the blue sky by clicking and dragging, then letting go in the spot that we want them. So this is a lot of work, so I'm not going to go through and rename all of these. But you'll see in a second how I can keep them organized without having to go through and name each individual layer. Okay, here's our last one. Let's place it there. Now I'll drag these around a little bit, make sure I have them how I want them. That looks fine. Yeah, that looks fine. Okay, and you can see here that I've added 8 new layers to my layers panel. That's a lot. Now there's a lot going on. In addition to that, if I wanted to change the position of my small tree, clicking and dragging it, I could move it, but the dots wouldn't follow it. I could select all of these layers. Remember, select one, shift, click to select everything in between, and then I could move them together. But if I wanted to make some isolated adjustments to these layers or anything else, I would have to go one by one. So this is where layer groups come in handy. What we can do is, with all of these layers selected, click on this little folder icon down here. This will create a new group, and we'll rename that group Tree Small. Now, with Tree Small selected, if I wanted to make an adjustment, I could scale it up or I could move it however I want, and it brings everything within this group with it. If I wanted to access each of these layers independently again, I can just click on this arrow and show all of my layers in this Tree Small group. It's a pretty nifty little tool for keeping things organized and decluttering your layers panel. Now if I wanted to make an adjustment to these layers, I could create a new adjustment layer, click Hue Saturation, and let's say I wanted to make these decorations a different color. Let's say I wanted them to be green and white, kind of like that. You can see that even though my Hue Saturation layer is within the Tree Small group, it's still affecting everything outside of that group that's beneath it. If I want to change this, all I have to do is click on Tree Small, so the folder is selected, change the blend mode from Pass Through to Normal, and now the adjustment layer stops at the last layer within that group. So it affects the group, but nothing outside of it. Now we're going to talk about blend modes during the second half of this section, but for now just remember that if you change the blend mode from Pass Through to Normal in a group, the adjustments you make within that group will stay within that group.